check in and make sure they're okay.
I'd like to call the August meeting of the Edgecombe County Commissioners to order. Mr. Evans?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. As you know, the board knows that Mr. Michael Peters, our attorney, is joining us remotely. And I just want to do a quick sound check-in. Michael, can you hear us okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And
Safety instructions.
yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'll have Ms. Best to come and read us our safety instructions.
Good evening. To provide for the safety of those attending this meeting, please listen to the following instructions in case of an emergency. First, please take a moment to note where your exits are. If an emergency arises that prompts us to evacuate, please exit this room in a quick and orderly manner through one of the two doors to your right, and then proceed to the nearest stairwell, directions to which are indicated by the exit signs. Once you exit the building, we ask that you safely cross Granville Street, which is the street that runs beside our building, to our parking lot to be safely away from the building. Our staff will provide additional direction and assistance. In the case of a tornado warning, we ask that you exit this room into the hallway, where we will all remain until it is safe to exit. And in the event of an active shooter in the building, if there is an accessible escape path, please run and try to evacuate the premises. If you can't evacuate, find a place to hide where you are less likely to be found, and lock any doors that you can. And as a last resort, and only if your life is in imminent danger, please fight. Our staff will provide additional direction and assistance on what to do. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Reverend Hines, prayer, please.
Eternal God, our Father, we give thanks for another day. Thank you for the blessings of life, health, and strength. We ask that you'd bless our minds and our hearts as we consider the things tonight that will help our citizens live in a better county and make things better for them. Bless our minds and our hearts to be conceived. Bless as only you can through Jesus Christ our Lord, we do pray. Amen.
Amen. You have minutes in your agenda package, or if there are no additions, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I'd like to point out one correction that needs to be made. It identifies Ms. Best as being present at that meeting. She was on vacation last month, so I do want to recommend that one correction to your minutes.
With that correction, is there a motion? Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. I think we have a guest
Yes, sir.
right here.
I'd like to call for Ms. Tanya Heath, our Cooperative Extension Director, and she's going to introduce you to this year's youth representative for the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners.
Thank you and good evening.
Good evening.
So I'm honored to introduce Logan Sunbaum, if you will come forward. So Logan Sunbaum is going to be our representative this weekend to attend the Commissioner's Youth Voice. So she's excited to learn a little bit about what you do on the county level, learn about budgeting, also some personality. I think you'll have a personality test, so it kind of teaches them how to work with different personalities. And Logan, in addition to that, I just want to give her some props, is that she is our new state 4-H reporter. And so her sister was our outgoing state president, and now she's coming into state office as a reporter for this year. So we're excited to have another Edgecombe 4-H'er in the state office. So if you don't mind, can we get a picture with her with y'all?
Would she like to say, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, tell
Go
them
ahead.
a little bit about
Go ahead.
what you've done.
Yeah, okay.
You're just telling you do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Tell us your name.
My name is Logan Sunbaum. Some of the main things I do in 4-H is forestry, wet livestock, leadership, and a lot more. But I'm 16 and I'm honored to be here today.
And I guess the other part of that is she will also, in addition to 3 more, that will be attending with her to Texas next month, or the end of next month, for national competition on a food challenge. So it's kind of like a chopped challenge. So It's a lot going on with her, but she does a little bit of everything in 4-H. So
What
again,
school does she go to?
I go to North Carolina Virtual Academy.
Okay.
So we're delighted that she's going to be our representative, and thank y'all for all that you do in supporting 4-H.
And thank her for what she did.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
You can come around, just stand right, Chairman.
Come on. You come with her. You come with her, let somebody take a picture.
Everything we do is fix our hair, don't we?
She'd like to have you at her side. You can stand in front.
We've been together since she was, I think, 5.
Okay.
Come this. Tell her to come this way a little bit. Eric,
I'm getting.
get her to come this way a little bit.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there you go.
1, 2, 3. Let me get one a little bit closer. 1, 2, 3. Excellent.
Thank y'all so much.
I was told I look forward to, I'll visit her this weekend.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we have public petitions. If there's anybody here that would like to come and speak to the board, please come forward and state your name and address for the public record. Please come forward.
Mr. Chairman, board members, staff members, public. My name's John Walker. I reside at 1303 North Main Street. Wasn't planning on doing this, but back in 4 years ago, this board recognized a member of our civic club. At the time, we had verified that he was the oldest living World War II veteran in the state, Mr. Gordon Campbell. I hate to tell you, Mr. Campbell passed at midnight last night, 104 years old.
Wow.
He served this country well in World War II. He was a navigator. And after World War II, after working with American Airlines as a navigator, he went to work for Grumman's Aircraft in Bethpage, New York. And he was working on the lunar landing module that took the Americans to the moon in 1969. So I just wanted to share that with you because you all had recognized him on the occasion of his 100th birthday.
Thank you for bringing that. Thank you so much. Is there anybody else here to speak?
Mr. Chairman, I do
right ahead.
want to mention, we received information from Miss Debbie Swick. She shared through our clerk, Ms. Faison, information regarding a ban on helium balloon releases in North Carolina. Apparently, there are some counties that are taking action with resolutions to ban that. You may or may not know that releasing those balloons like that can be harmful to the environment and to animals in particular. She shared some very informative information here and just asked if the board would take into consideration a possible doing a similar resolution. I will share with you the information that we received from her so that you can further discuss that at future meetings. But she did submit that, and I wanted to be sure that I shared that here at this time during public petition.
Without any objections, that you and Mr. Peters take a look at it and recommend something to the board.
Yes, sir.
Would it be an
Sure.
objection from the board?
No.
Hearing none, you can put that on our next agenda item.
Yes, sir.
Did you have any emails or
No, sir. That was it.
nothing else for public petitions? Hearing none, other business. Moving on, Ms. Evans.
Yes, sir. So next you have, or first under other business, you have approval of budget amendments. I'd like to draw your attention to those in the first section there which do require your approval. Budget amendment number 1 is to reclassify the getting off the list discretionary funding that originally had been set aside in recreation line. That needs to be moved to a more appropriate line, so that's just being moved to a new line, getting off the list initiative. Budget amendment number 2 is rolling forward some funds that were encumbered by purchase order in FY24, work that had not been completed, and so those amounts are being rolled forward to current fiscal year. Budget amendment number 3 is also rolling forward funds, and this is in maintenance department for vehicle repairs that were encumbered by a purchase order in last fiscal year that the work was not complete, so that's being rolled forward. Budget amendment number 4, these are some state funds received in Department of Social Services that were not completely expended last fiscal year and so are being rolled forward to current year. Budget amendment number 5 and 6, 5, 6, and 7 are state funds, new state funds received in the Health Department that are being appropriated. Number 8 as well, excuse me. Budget amendment number 9, that's connected to item F, a little bit further down on your agenda, so I ask that you hold consideration of that until we get there. The remaining are for your information. I do want to point out budget amendments number 14 and 15. You'll recall that there are a number of revenue lines for which we budget what we anticipate to receive in a given fiscal year. And but we are required that after the end of the fiscal year to do a budget amendment to account for what we actually received and then appropriate in those connected expenditure lines. So you'll see budget amendments number 14 and 15 are related to such items as that from FY '24. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Is there a motion to approve budget amendments 1 through 8? Second?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, those amendments are approved.
Thank you.
Next, go ahead.
Next is regarding an offer to purchase on 3003 North Main Street. As you know, an offer to purchase was received by Heichel Properties LLC to purchase property that the county owns at 3003 North Main Street here in Tarboro, which is our former DSS and Health Department campus. If the offer to purchase is accepted by the board, a minimum 10-day public notice then must be given for upset bid. You see there, I have some information on the property. I will point out of the 29 acres, we will exclude and subdivide to exclude the current animal shelter that we will maintain ownership of. The appraised value, the recent appraisal that we had done on it was $900,000, and as you see, the offer is for $350,000. You have attached a copy of the summary of the appraisal with some background information on a justification for recommendation. I would like to summarize for you the reason for the recommendation for you to accept this offer of the purchase. And that is, first of all, that the county, since we have vacated that property, except for a limited time, we had an outside agency that was there doing flood recovery work. The county has no use for the property now, except for the animal shelter. Since we vacated that property, we've only received one other offer, which fell through some years ago since we left the property there. We have some ongoing costs for basic maintenance and utilities we have to maintain in the building. If we do decide to continue to own it, we will need to spend probably hundreds of thousands of dollars to stabilize the buildings so that we ultimately don't have to tear them down. Also, if this is accepted and transaction as we proceed with, this will put that property back in taxable status. You'll recall that the Heichels, Mr. and Mrs. Heichel, attended a previous board meeting and made a presentation for their planned use of the facility, which is to develop housing there. So again, my recommendation is that you accept the offer to purchase and authorize us to publish a notice of upset bid.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion passed.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Ms. Lewis to come forward and present to you an annual tax settlement.
Good evening, Commissioners. How are you?
Aye.
Good. All right. So, you have a couple of annual settlement, you have a copy of the annual settlement required by state statute in your agenda package. As you can see, the collection rate for annual taxes went up from 95.33% for FY 22-23 to 95.41% for FY 23-24, a slight increase of 0.08%. I would also like to report that the motor vehicle tax collection rate for 23-24 is 99.92%, also a slight increase, quite a little bit over 0.14%. My apologies, I'm having trouble reading. My eyes are dilated, so I'm having to refocus. From the past fiscal year. With this increase in motor vehicle collections and the increase in annual collections, our overall collection rate ended with a combined rate of 96.01%. We're also able to decrease the amount of taxes written off due to the 10-year statute of limitation by $50,519. And what I mean by that is we were able to collect more taxes and write off $50,000 less. We also increased our collection of back taxes to the close to $1.2 million over the 10-year statute of 10-year collections being collected this past year. I'm also very pleased with my staff has accomplished. They worked hard at what they do in the office as well as in the classroom. I have couldn't have done it without them. A few of them are here tonight. Makita Daniels, our new delinquent tax specialist that you guys approved in this 24 fiscal year, and then Miss Lisa Skinner, our deputy tax collector. So thank you guys for all your help. I couldn't have done it without them. A few of them, sorry. Also, I would like to thank Mr. Peters and his staff for his help and guidance, as well as Mr. Evans and each of you for your continued support in our efforts to increase the collection percentages. Our continued goal is to reach the state average rate of 98.11% within the next 2 years. I would like to share a little bit of statistics in our enforcements that we've done this past year to help that helped us achieve that. We currently had 33 payment plans for citizens. We did 10 filings for bankruptcy that totaled $40,000. Our debt set-off program, we submitted 249 new debts this year, totaling $18,078 in collections. We garnished bank accounts and received $23,004.86. We garnished wages in the amount of about 1,700 total accounts, receiving $318,740 through wage garnishments. We also garnished what we call S-cheats or unclaimed monies. We had 41 claims with a collection amount of $989,000. We also did 78 sheriff executions that the sheriff was able to assist us in collecting $212,000. And Mr. Peters' office received 44 parcels from our office to collect on this year, and we sold 37 of them. When we sold them, we have collected a total of $153,408. But he's also, with the other 44 accounts that we had, as well as the other ones, we've been able to collect a total of $900,162 by the assistance of them. And I'm happy to answer any other questions about what our office did this year.
Any questions?
Thank all you for your hard work, and especially for accepting those payment plans, which I encourage citizens. No need to hide the bill in the drawer. Go ahead and call and make payment plans. Better play a little at a time than,
Yes,
have
ma'am.
garnishments.
So we do payment plans once they become delinquent, but since the bills went out in the mail today, you'll find 5 payment stubs in there where you can pay in advance before they become delinquent. You don't have to wait till the bill is due to pay. You can start paying now, and we do accept prepayments even before those bills go out. So in January of every year, you can start paying on your expected taxes that are going to be due by the end of the year to help budget a little bit better.
We haven't gone to Cash App and Zelle, have we?
No,
Might
not
be able
yet.
to reach your younger people that owe taxes.
No. We are trying to implement, we were not able to get that on these bills, electronic notices. So hopefully that'll go out on the next time we do a bill to the customers, which will be in January, their delinquent notices.
Any other comments or questions?
Good job.
Yes,
Thank
Thank
Mr.
you.
Peters on the telephone. Thank your office for continuing to help you earn your keep.
Earn all of our keep with that money that they collect, right?
The recommended action is to approve settlement and recharge of collecting taxes as presented. Is there a motion?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none.
Would you like me to read the resolution?
I just approved it.
Okay, you're good then.
Yeah, we're
I
gonna let,
struggle reading,
we're gonna
so-
let them read it, okay?
Good, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, I appreciate all y'all.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Next is item D regarding transfer of school property from Nash County Schools to Edgecombe Schools. Per Senate Bill 248, as part of the County Line School merger, 4 schools with their related equipment are being transferred from Nash County Schools to Edgecombe County School System. This transaction not only requires the approval of both school boards, but also both boards of commissioners. Therefore, enclosed for your consideration is a bill of transfer. And this has already been approved by the other 3 parties. I recommend that you adopt the enclosed bill of transfer as presented.
So moved.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, bill of transfer is approved.
Thank you, sir.
Next.
Item E is regarding a request for a public hearing for financing of capital projects. As you will recall, during your budget work session and the FY25 budget public hearing, we proposed proceeding with the financing of a list of capital projects, including the construction of a new animal shelter. Your directive was to proceed with our due diligence so that you may make a final decision as to whether to proceed. Since then, we have discussed our financing plan with staff at the Local Government Commission in preparation of our appearance before the LGC to get their approval, which we anticipate to be in October. We have also published a solicitation of bids from lending institutions which are due August 15th. The next step is to hold a public hearing. I recommend that you call for this public hearing to be held at your September 3rd meeting.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye. Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, the public hearing is called.
Thank you. Next is regarding resolution of intent to reimburse item F on your agenda. One proposed project and one proposed purchase on the list of capital projects considered for financing will likely require that we proceed before the loan is finalized. The project is the replacement of the HVAC controls at the detention center. Based on the recommendation of Mr. Stan Liverman, our maintenance director, the current system is at its end of life. And if it stops working, it will cause considerable issues at the detention center. The purchase referred to is a new loader for the transfer station at the landfill. Our current loader has needed considerable repairs recently and may not last much longer. Approval of the attached resolution will allow us to proceed with the expenditure of these funds before the loan closing, which will then be reimbursed to fund balance once the loan is closed. I will let you know that we are including both of these items in this resolution of intent to reimburse. However, we're going to hold on that piece of equipment at the landfill and see if we can just wait until we close. But you'll see we do have a contract later for your consideration for the work on the HVAC unit there in the detention center that I will recommend that we move forward with that. But I recommend that you approve the resolution as presented.
Motion?
So moved.
Second. Questions?
I got.
Go right ahead.
Why the question I always ask here is why are we going to finance a $100,000 loader when we've got a $78 million budget? And we're looking at putting on a 20-year note. So I would like to remove that from the resolution and only do the detention center HVAC.
Sure, and to your point about financing, and you brought that same concern up before, we will have the option that some of these items, including those smaller ticket items, that if we're going to finance, we can finance at shorter terms. We've let the financing institutions that we're reaching out to know that. And certainly before you approve on the loan, we can decide on that, but I certainly understand your concern about that.
Now, your request was what there, Mr. Thorne?
To remove the loader from the, if we were not going to execute that contract, to remove it from the resolution and only approve to spend on the detention center until we understand what the financing contracts look like.
I have no issue with that.
Who seconded?
Mr. Webb. No, that was, had the question.
He wants, well, he does not want the motion approved
Yeah, correct. As presented, yes.
As presented, and he's requesting that we remove the,
And then retract it.
remove the loader from
Yes,
that.
sir.
And I'm saying, would you,
I would second that. I didn't, but I will.
no,
No, you don't want to,
Somebody gotta change their
you want to
motion.
retract.
We want to retract or change the
we
motion.
want to change, who did the motion? You withdraw your motion, or your second?
Withdraw your motion.
Withdraw your second?
Was it made?
Who,
Uh-huh.
okay,
He withdrew.
but they have withdrawn,
People's
is there a
right.
motion? The motion would be, is to, give me your motion, Mr. Thorne.
To approve the resolution as amended to remove reference of the financing of the loader.
Who makes that motion?
So moved.
Second?
Yeah, second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved. Next.
Item G is regarding discretionary funding for outside agencies. In the FY25 budget, $200,000 was included for the consideration of funding to outside agencies with projects and programs that align with our Getting Off the List initiative. A request for proposals was published and we received 27 applications. I convened a committee of 18 members and we reviewed the applications. The committee ranked these applications based on how well it connects to our Getting Off the List initiative and addresses one of our 4 focus areas, the viability of the proposal, and how well it maximizes a Getting Off the List return for the county's investment. Based on the collective ranking of the committee, attached are the list of 9 projects recommended for discretionary funding. I do want to point out two of the agencies listed in the 9. We have board members, commissioners who are on those boards. And so if you're going to consider action on this, I would suggest first that you excuse individually those 2 from voting on that, and that would be Commissioner Harris, who's on the Boys and Girls Board of Directors, and Mr. Webb, I believe you are on the STEP Board of Directors. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion to excuse those 2 commissioners?
So moved.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Those 2 commissioners are excused. And is there a motion to approve the recommended, recommendation of the manager on this issue?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passed 5-2 with the other 2 excused. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Next.
Item H, as you may recall, our FY25 budget includes 3 new positions, and they are the Deputy Elections Director, a firefighter, and a firefighter captain position. Presented for your consideration are the job descriptions for these positions. Our current compensation plan already includes the Deputy Elections Director at grade GO8. However, the firefighter at a GO8 and a firefighter captain GO9 both need to be added. I recommend that you approve the job descriptions and update of the compensation plan as presented.
Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions?
The elections director is not on this. Oh, there he is.
Deputy, yes, sir.
I read
The other ones were in red, so I just didn't.
about him last night.
Any other questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved. Next.
Item I, the unwinding of financing structure for the biotech building at the community college. In 2014, we initiated a financing structure that included installment financing and new markets tax credits in order to construct the Biotech Training Center for the Edgecombe Community College on their Rocky Mount campus, now as it is named the Lamb Building. Article 46 sales tax proceeds have been used to pay debt service. The new markets tax credits have already been satisfied and closed. That was on a 7-year period. There remains a balance of $2,136,750 for the installment loan with PNC. We have determined that there are sufficient funds available to pay off the balance of the installment loan with PNC. I will note, as those tax revenues have come in and paid through that structure, there's been more than enough to cover the loan and has accumulated some.
And we do have enough that has come in?
Yes, sir.
To pay off that difference?
With what's in there and what we have budgeted in the current fiscal year.
And we will continue to collect that?
Yes, sir, and we can redirect those. As a reminder, that article, sales tax article, requires those funds to either be used for education or economic development purposes.
Okay, but it was not a sunset on that?
No, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Good question. Thank you for asking that. Therefore, there is no longer the need to maintain the financing structure. The Board of Horizon Health Partners, which is the nonprofit created to serve as the intermediary for the new markets tax credits, has already met to approve the unwind of the financing structure. The Board of the Edgecombe County Facilities Corporation, which served as the leveraged lender in the transaction, has also met to do the same. Now your approval is required to unwind this transaction as well. Therefore, I recommend that you approve the enclosed resolution authorizing the payoff of the installment financing with PNC Bank and unwind the financing structure. And in a separate action, approve the transfer of the biotech building to the Edgecombe Community College and authorize the execution of the attached form. I do want to note, when this structure was put together those years ago, I guess it was 2014, that original resolution included language in there that once all of the debt was satisfied between the new markets tax credits and the senior loan from PNC, that ownership of the building would be transferred to the community college. The land was originally owned by the community college. They transferred it to the county for all of this.
There were a lot of complicated transfers.
Yes, very much so.
Do I need to be excused from that?
No.
No, not since you're not on their board of directors, no, ma'am. I wouldn't
And
say
you do have, you see the minutes where the other boards had approved it at your desk. Okay. Now, is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Questions? Go ahead.
Just
Go
one
ahead.
question. It's not even about this transaction, but can we see an audit of that tax credit and what that looks like?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep, you sure can.
Just knowing that I don't know, are there other buildings that are included in that? Are we expending any other money from that besides that one building?
No, that was the only.
I think we passed, there was, no, we did a, what, a half-cent tax increase?
Quarter
Quarter
cent.
tax increase.
Quarter cent. We did it by referendum.
By referendum on that issue. That's why I was asking, you still have that income coming in?
But now that there's not something to be expended in it, I think it would be prudent to let people know what that looks like.
Sure, absolutely.
I think that was one of the questions I was asking, what is the balance is and how is our intent to use it? I would agree.
And also, this will be, this is part of the action of the other two boards. Part of the unwind is that now both the Edgecombe Facilities Corp. And Horizon Health Partners, which were both created for this financing structure, after all of this is done, they each will be dissolved. There's no need for them to exist since all of this will be taken care of.
Right, okay.
So I guess my next question there would be, do we need to create a board that's administrating that or some kind of committee? Or would that come through us?
Those boards have met to approve similar resolutions that authorize once this is done. They have already, that was part of the resolutions that they had to. Now, in the future, if we ever have a need for, and it's really the new markets tax credit that precipitated the need for this complexity, because we did have some discussion, particularly Horizon Health Partner, as did we want to continue to exist as a board But, you know, there is annual IRS filing, audit that has to be done, some expenditures, and we've not had the need for that board since this transaction. If we ever need it again, we could just go through that process.
But there seems to be a disarray in there for the merged school systems. We can use that for the merged school system. The quarter cent sales.
Possibly, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, the sales tax, yes,
Sales
sir.
tax.
Absolutely.
Any more questions?
So just to clarify, Mr. Wiggins, that first motion was to approve the resolution, correct?
Okay. All in favor, let it be known by the vote sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the resolution is approved. Now we need to approve the transfer.
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion to approve the transfer of the building to the Edgecombe County?
So moved.
Community College?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the vote sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Next.
Item J, Mr. Chairman, I will ask that we table that until a future meeting. We need to get some clarification on one of those resolutions. I believe there may be an error there, and we weren't able to clarify that before the meeting, but we'll bring that back to you.
We just take no action?
No action, yes, sir.
Next.
Item K is regarding the Neighborhood Revitalization Program. At your May meeting, you approved the acceptance of $950,000 from the North Carolina Department of Commerce in the Community Development Block Grant Neighborhood Revitalization Program. This program provides funding for the renovation and replacement of substandard housing for low to moderate income families. We're updating the project ordinance to appropriate part of the expenditures for rehabilitation costs and part for administration. Also, the CDBG NR program requires certain policies and plans to meet federal requirements. Those are included for your consideration as well. I recommend that your first action be to approve the updated project budget ordinance as presented.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the vote sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved.
And then next, I recommend that you approve the project-related policies and plans as presented.
Motion?
So moved. Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the vote sign aye. Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved. Next.
Item item L, which is regarding an agreement with the North Carolina Department of Public Safety. You previously approved a cooperative agreement with the North Carolina Office of Recovery and Resiliency, which is a department or unit of the North Carolina Department of Public Safety, for them to offer buyouts in areas designated as disaster risk reduction areas or buyout zones. As a reminder, this is a voluntary program. Homes within these areas will be given the opportunity to participate in a buyout program very similar to the FEMA program that we administer. The designated buyout zones include areas in Tarboro and Princeville and near Pine Tops. The Office of Recovery and Resiliency has received a request for another property to be included in this program. However, it is outside of the currently designated zones. The Office of Recovery and Resiliency proposes to offer the buyout to this property owner, but it will require an amendment of the cooperative agreement. Therefore, I recommend that you approve the amendment to the cooperative agreement as presented and authorize staff to execute the same.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the vote sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved.
Item M is our annual agreement with the North Carolina Forestry Service. As you see, it does require a 40% cost share of $131,185. That has already been included in your FY25 budget. I recommend that you approve the agreement and authorize me to execute the same.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye. Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved. Appointments, I see none.
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Moving on to alpha list and release for review and approval. Is there anything to be brought to the board's attention?
Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions from the board? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign aye. Aye. All opposed? Hearing none is approved. Contracts, anything to be brought to the board's attention, Ms. Evans?
Just want to point out, the first one is a contract with McDavid and Associates for the same CDBG program we just talked about. That is covered by grant funds. There's change order number 5, Water Sewer District 6 project. Also, this is covered by USDA funding. I would ask that you take action on those two first. The remaining 3, there would be separate action to approve sole source contract
Now,
for that.
your first motion, your first request was what there, Ms. Evans?
To approve the contracts for McDavid Associates and T.A. Loving Company change order.
Motion? Second?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed, hearing none. They are approved. Next, Ms. Evans?
The next 3 I ask for your consideration of approving a sole source contracts with these. Expansion Solutions LLC, they provide contract staffing in food and nutrition program for our Department of Social Services. There are very few companies out there that provide this service and have the capacity to provide it, so we did not go through a bid process. So recommend that you approve that sole source contract. The next one is Siemens Industry Incorporated. This goes back to the HVAC controls at the detention center we just discussed. Siemens it has a proprietary system that all of the rest of our buildings are under this system, and so asking that you approve sole source contract for that. And then finally, Ms. John Sharp LLC's consultant's been working with us for 2.5 years now, continuing to provide some assistance to us. And again, we did not bid that out, but being that she has the capacity we need and the familiarity with the county since she's worked with us for the last 2.5 years, ask that you approve sole source contract for that as well.
Motion to approve those contracts requested by the manager. Second? Did you get a second?
I got it. Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye. Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, they are approved. Departmental reports, water and sewer, any questions? Monthly financial summary, Mr. Evans?
Yes, sir. I'd like to call Ms. Barfield.
Good evening, Commissioner.
Good evening.
So you may have noticed a little change in our reports for July, which is typical for this time of year. Our current practice for revenue reporting reflects that we accrue revenues back to the year in which it was earned. So therefore, overwhelmingly, the majority of revenues that we received in July is accrued back to the 2024 fiscal year. For example, the sales tax that we did receive in July relates to April sales. Therefore, it was accrued back to the fiscal year 2024 and not reflected in the 2025 numbers. It will likely be October before our financial reports reflect sales that we collected in July. Our property tax collections, we did receive property tax collections. They are posted daily. However, since they are managed in a separate financial system, the resulting revenues from that are booked into our main accounting system in August and then attributed back to June. So we have to wait for the month end in order to do that. And at the timing of when we need these reports ready for the board, those things have not yet been posted. Just a couple of highlights on the expenditures. Some things included as payroll, of course, is our biggest expenditure. We also have big payments for our liability and property insurance and our workman's comp insurance, which is all due at the beginning of the fiscal year. And also included in some of the major expenditures are our education allotments that we send along to the schools and the community college. So we make monthly allocations to those, and those are all numbers that help contribute it to the large balance that you see here. Pretty much everything is straightforward and normal for this time of year. Unless you have any questions, I'll move on to the audit update.
Any questions of that? Continue, go ahead.
Okay. So, good news, our auditors have visited twice. They've completed their revenue and expenditure testing. We are expecting them back in mid-September to do balance sheet testing and to do all of their final on-site work. We are still working very hard to meet the October deadline to present the audit to the LDC. And barring any setbacks, we're on track to do that. However, I always caution that anything unexpected delays either on our end or on their end could always happen. But right now, we've got several dedicated staff working to ensure that we're able to hopefully be finished sometime early October, mid-October, and then we'll need our auditing firm will go back and actually draft the financials, and then they'll get submitted. That's the plan as of today.
Any questions?
Did everybody get an email from the auditors asking questions about renewal
Should
or
have.
anything? Okay.
With related party questionnaires,
Okay.
yes.
I sent mine.
They actually-
Sent it in. Did you get the email? Did everybody get the email from the auditors and send it back?
I don't recall sending one back.
And that's what they send out every year, is the questionnaire that we ask, and they send it to us as well.
They send them to me to sign, and then I have to send them back to them. They have to
I don't
actually
recall
do the
sending one
mailing.
back yet. Okay.
And so if you didn't get one, I'll be happy to check into that.
Let's see if we're gonna check on it.
Okay.
It's in the email.
Say it's in the email.
It's in the email.
It might be, okay.
That's it.
I won't say it's not. Okay, good. Okay.
And Mr. Chairman and board members, I will add that our auditors have been, up to this point, have been very complimentary to Linda and her team for the continued improvements they've been making. Of course, the proof will be in that pudding when we get the audit, of course, but I think that's been encouraging, and so I want to say thank you to her and staff and everybody that's involved, because, it doesn't all start and end in the finance department. It actually is birthed in a lot of ways in all of our departments. So I want to say thank you to all of our staff that had some involvement of that. But we'll hold off celebration until we get that on.
Right.
While we don't know what it's gonna say, the most important thing, we have it on time.
Yes, sir.
And then we can, if there is corrective action, we'll take the necessary corrective action that they're
Yes, sir.
requesting us to do.
And I did want to ask, school of government lady was at a last meeting. Are we taking advantage of making sure that our staff has the opportunity to go to training on finance that school of government offers?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, we had, I think 4 of our finance staff participated in the recent program with Edgecombe Community College. And so we are always on the lookout for additional training for our staff.
Any other questions? Thank you.
And as far as the other staff report, just want to point out that you do have in your agenda
Right.
packets the report from the solid waste department that shows the items and tonnage of collection of the various categories there for the year, for the month and year.
I had a question.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Someone called me that works at one of the centers, asking me what they should do if somebody came through, was dumping a lot of stuff, like they had worked on a house or something. And I told her she needed to refer it to her supervisor, who was
Yes.
on vacation. So Mike, you were the next person I thought of for her to call. I mean, I was out of town at the conference, but I wanted to make sure that she got through to somebody.
Sure.
Because it seemed to be a lot of stuff that they were bringing, that they had been working on a house. He had it covered up.
At a convenient,
At a
one of the
convenience
convenient sites.
Right, and she needed to know what to do, so.
Send it to the landfill.
Yeah, they have to take it to the landfill. Typically, we only take at the convenience sites the equivalent of a 50-gallon trash can of C&D.
Well, evidently, she tried to explain that to him, and he was a little abrupt with her. So I told her
Call
to
the
call
sheriff.
Mike. I told her to call
Call the
Mike.
sheriff. Call the sheriff. Send Mike out there.
Along those lines, I had a question, person to ask about glass. Is there something that you don't take glass or
We,
something?
we don't take it as a recyclable anymore.
Okay.
And that's not our choice. The place where we take our recyclables no longer take glass. And they stopped that some years ago.
Oh,
A few
okay.
years ago.
Maybe
It's all tied up into the market for it, and do they have anywhere to put it? So unfortunately, that has to go into regular trash.
Okay, so that means that it would have to go where, to the landfill or something?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because she was saying, well, I talked with somebody and they said that the city of Rocky Mountain, they'll take their glass. And I want to take yours over there. But anyway,
Yeah.
I told her I would ask.
And I'm not
To see
sure
what
where
we need to
Rocky
do.
Mount, who their vendor is to take their
She said
recyclable.
BFI. Is it BFI, the green?
GFL.
GFL, okay.
Right, yeah.
GFL, take the ones in Rocky Mount, she said.
Okay.
I don't know where she lived, but it was out in my district.
I think it's pretty similar there in terms of what these landfills will take.
Okay.
It's a consistency and.
So she needs to go to the landfill.
And what they will take in our landfill and our site personnel, I think they know what they not supposed to take. And, you know, and our site personnel just need to send them to the landfill. If they have problems, they need to call law enforcement. If somebody's refusing to not do what they call law enforcement, Mr. Matthews ain't going, what he going down there and do?
So this has been, you said a
Go
couple
down
of
there and
years?
call
It's been
police
a couple of years
No,
since
they
made
need,
this
they
change?
got a phone.
Yes.
Our people need to be, they need to be aggressive enough, at these sites to make sure that they need to call the police.
I was
If we've
wondering why
got,
she had my number,
no,
but I was glad to.
so,
But to clarify, glass that you have, you can't put it in your recycling bin, at least for us, and I know the town of Tarboro, I'm not sure about Rocky Mount, but you would throw that in your regular household trash.
Oh,
And that will
okay.
get picked up as the rest of your trash is.
Okay.
It's
You
no
just had it in
longer,
the wrong bucket.
right. For us, it's no longer recyclable.
I can tell her that.
any other questions?
Okay.
Our manager's report, Ms. Evans.
Yes, sir. You have there some major events and updates from this past month, the workforce development indicators, and the monthly TDA financial report. Regarding an update on broadband projects, to let you know, Brightspeed, they are actually out doing construction on their project, their great grant-funded project, and I'm going to ask our staff back there to pull up the map just as a reminder of the project area. This is what was approved for the great grant from the state for the Brightspeed project. Those lines in blue, I guess that is their planned project. Now, Brightspeed is also doing work out in here in Tarboro, outside of Rocky Mount, outside of the great grant, but this is what's been funded. So their design was completed and approved some time back, and now construction has started. As you'll recall, the second great grant was awarded to Infinity Link, and I'll ask staff to show that second map there. Infinity Link's great grant. Yeah, if you'll switch that map there, it's like there it is. And so that the green area is what's covered by Infinity Link's Great Grant Award. So you'll see Brightspeed's Great Grant was primarily south of Tarboro and then west towards Rocky Mount. Infinity Links is primarily north of Tarboro. You see some west of Tarboro there as a reference. And so they are in the design and permitting phase of that project. And then third, you'll remember there's a third program called CAB. That is where the state vetted companies to be able to participate. They work with us here at the county to prepare a request for proposals. They also, Ms. Bess and I participated on a committee with representatives from the State Office of DIT to review those proposals. And Brightspeed won the award for that CAB program. A little bit harder to see, but you'll see all of those green dots are all of the areas that are included. So you'll see it is intermixed between some of the other two great grant projects. So that was just recently awarded. There are a total of 1,420 properties that are included in that CAB program. And so they've been notified of that award from the state. They'll move forward soon with the design and permitting of that as well. So we'll have 3 broadband deployment projects rolling along at various
Some of
stages.
them overlap each other.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So what we're going to do is, working with these 2 companies, we're going to overlay these maps to see, what's covered and what will still be left. As we knew from both the Great Grant and the CAB program, it would cover a lot of areas that don't currently have it available, but it won't cover 100%. of the county. There will still some more funding coming down in the pipeline, and so we want to make sure that we are in line for that, number one, and number two, that we can steer that to those areas that will still be left unserved.
And there's some unserved areas once you overlap. We need to look at why we've got contractors here in terms of if there's additional funding or if there's anything that we can do to try to get service to those areas.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause it's kinda hard. And my church is right in Leggett, but from Leggett till I get all the way across the bridge into Tarboro, cell phone.
And don't come my way. Don't come that way. Don't go the other way.
Moving on.
That's a different issue.
A whole different.
I do want to mention that, as I know you've been hearing on the news and weather reports, that what was Hurricane Debbie, now Tropical Storm Debbie, is expected to make some impacts here in North Carolina. As always, it's still early for them to be as more precise about what exactly those impacts will be. Excuse me. If you've seen weather maps, you know that bands from this storm are stretched, up the southeast coast. So we'll start seeing some rain, if not this evening, tomorrow, that's associated with this. We will have bouts of heavy rain off and on through Saturday, mostly the heaviest between Thursday and Friday. There is the potential for flash flooding in our area. At this point, it looks like that there's a marginal to moderate risk of river flooding. The river is very low right now, but that could change. Mr. Brown is here tonight. He and his staff are monitoring that closely. The National Weather Service is doing updates at least twice a day, and we're paying very close attention to that. So we do want to caution all of our folks that are here in the room and anyone listening virtually, just as always, to be cautious with an event like this, particularly if you live in a low-lying area that's prone to flash flooding, to be very mindful of this storm, the rains that we'll be getting over the next several days. Of course, our staff always stands ready to escalate our response to it quickly, depending on the severity of it, but for now, we'll be monitoring the storm as it progresses.
Do we look at the gates of the levee during this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Make sure they're working properly?
Yes, ma'am. In fact, they're doing some work on them now. It's a grant that the town received to do some repairs on it. Like I said, we don't expect this to bring that river level up high enough to impact those floodgates. Good question. And that's all I have for my report.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we're scheduled for a closed session, but this is about one of the
Are we
shortest.
not doing a commissioner's report?
Is there Commissioner? It's not, I didn't see it on the agenda. We got that left off the agenda. Go ahead, Commissioner. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I'm sorry to get you brought to my
Yeah,
attention.
I just wanted, before everyone
That's
left.
fine.
Yeah. There were just two comments. One has to do with the property on Main Street. I think we got very lucky that some people are even interested in it, and I've heard from other people that people are interested in it. One of my concerns to Mr. Evans today, when I was looking at these numbers, is we're spending $26,000 a year on utilities, but there's no HVAC out there. And the response was, if we didn't spend $26,000 a year, that the buildings would have fallen apart. Well, the buildings are falling apart. I mean, they're in terrible shape, absolute terrible shape. And I think it's embarrassing that we allowed that to even happen. We keep bringing on buildings into our facilities. We just bought another building in Rocky Mount, and we can't keep the buildings that we have in shape. I think that we need to really think about that. Because when you look at this, the estimates are $3.5 million just to stabilize the buildings that are there. And we just lost $312,000, and we're getting lucky that someone's even willing to pay that, because they probably should be torn down. That's,
You're referring to the social service, the building that people gonna fix?
yes.
Oh,
We really don't know what they're gonna do with it. I think they might.
they're the one that made that presentation to us.
Right.
Yes.
I didn't mean to ask, has all of the things that were inside the health department been removed, because they had built all of those beds, different things during the flood? Has all that stuff been
Most of
taken
the,
out,
most
or-
of the beds, mattresses have been removed by the organization, being used somewhere else. You will
Okay.
go in, I think it's at least two of the spaces where they built in those
Right.
bunk beds,
They were
that's
built
still
in,
there.
yeah, they were built in, they were built in bunk beds.
That's right. They came back some time ago and got the mattresses and a lot of the other stuff.
Any other commissioner?
Let's see. I did attend our National Association, was excited that North Carolina now has the second vice president of NACO, of our National Association. It's Mr. George Dunlap from Mecklenburg County. North Carolina hasn't had anybody on that national side in quite a few years, so we're excited for Mr. Dunlap. And he works closely with the North Carolina Association. The North Carolina Association of County Commissioners will be convening Thursday through Saturday in Winston-Salem. And we will have the opportunity to be with our young lady with the 4-H, because they do work with kids from all over the state. They will be there doing some training. And actually, they will get an opportunity to pretend that they are county commissioners. They have to make a budget. They have to show how to make it work. They have to interview people like people that come to work for them. It's just a great opportunity for young people from 4-H as well as the Boys and Girls Clubs. And they're coming out of 60 counties out of North Carolina. So they will do real colors, which is a routine where it shows you how to work with different level of people. And that will be exciting for them. We will meet with them for a breakfast and a luncheon where they will explain what they've learned. And so that's a great opportunity. So I'm looking forward to participating with her on that.
Any other commissioners? Hearing none, as I've stated, at this time, we're going to close session, but it's one of the shortest meetings that we had in a while, and I'm seeing that there's some people in the audience, so we don't have public petitions. Was there anything that you wanted to say that you missed? Hearing none, at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we're going into closed session discussing economic development and personnel matter. Is there a motion to go into closed session? And questions?
Are you related to the Harpers from Vegas?
We don't let him out.
Say what?
No, I'm related
Say
to
what?
the four Harpers
He said,
from,
Felicia, don't say
Be careful now.
We good. We on
I do not be quiet.
We're on now.
Go ahead, yes, sir.
My name is James A. Harper. I live at 1101 Panola Street in Tarboro. County Manager Eric Evans and Commissioners of Edgecombe County. My name is James Harper, and a year ago I purchased a home in Tarboro. This past year has been very enjoyable, and when moving in to a new community, I try and get involved in the community. And I've contacted the principal at Tarboro High School and Mr. Andrew Bryant, offering to paint the sign in front of the school given by the class of 1950. And still no word after a month. And I've offered to sell Booster Club memberships, and again, no word. The reason for painting the sign is it needs to be painted. And nobody in class of 1950, they're probably 90 years old or above, they're not doing it. And I just trying to help. I've always had dogs and cats in my life, and they've given me great joy. When looking for a home, the selling point was that it had a big fenced-in yard. Beside my pets, another enjoyment is going to Costco. I buy extra dog treats and take them to the county animal shelter control facility near the old hospital. I've asked the lady officer there if they ever walk the dogs, and I'm told, yes, you just missed them from being walked. After months of never seeing a dog outside, I wrote a letter to Sheriff Cleveland Atkinson Jr. and dropped it off at a person in his office. I'm still waiting a month later to hear from him. It's unacceptable for county officials to not reply and think they're not accountable to the citizens. I did hear from a lieutenant that told me 2 lies, and that's also unacceptable to me. In the letter, offered to walk dogs in the evenings, as it is hot outside, and inside the facility, it's unbearable, and get others to help out walk dogs in the evening as well until it cools off. I'm sure every pet advocacy group would find this unacceptable. I realize some in the county do not know me, but when I see things that need to get fixed, I do not give up until they are fixed. Mr. Evans and Commissioners, you should be ashamed that top official employees of the county feel they're not responsible to voters. In closing, as the lieutenant told me, it's against the law in North Carolina to keep dogs locked up 24/7. I've offered to help, and I want to see this fixed and the county moving forward and building a new shelter. To me, it's very important. I don't have children. I have 4-legged children, and I've always had them, and I really would like to see this facility not just put up a sign. That's part of what the lieutenant told me. He said, oh, we're going to have it, it'll be built in a year. This time next year, it'll be there. Not going to happen in a year. I'll bet anybody up here. It's not going to happen in a year. And if you want to bet me, we'll go outside, and I only bet a Coke or something, so I'm not a big spender. But it's not going to happen until Tarboro makes a payment to you all, and you all get together and work together. It's not going to happen. And I just really, I don't know how many of you all have been out to the shelter out there, but it's hot as heck in there, and they don't get walked. It's as the lieutenant told me, it's against the law. If it's against the law, each one of you all breaking the law. So anyway, but thanks for listening, and appreciate you letting me do it. And I'm just trying to be involved and doing things, and I look forward to you.
Yeah,
I can't see
I
it.
think she's coming to see you.
I've got bad eyesight. Thank you.
Just like everybody else,
She don't want me talking about
cell phone number on it, I live right down the block from it. We're in the big white house.
Yeah, so stop by sometime. I love that we're sitting on the back and have a soda.
Certainly will.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Would you give him the update on the
animal shelter? Yes, sir.
Give him the update.
And Mr. Harper, just to let you know that we did have some conversation with the town of Tarboro, and they decided they're going to maintain their shelter, so they won't be joining in with us. We are moving forward with that. The architectural design has been done. It is out to bid now. We plan to borrow money to build a new animal shelter. Borrowing like that, we have to get approved by the local government commission. So we're on schedule to appear before them at their October meeting to get approval for that. So soon after, pending approval, soon after we will close on that loan. But you're right, it won't, a year from today, there won't be a new shelter there, but I just want you to know that, movement is being made on that.
I appreciate it. It just, like I said, I have 4-legged children. You all have, some of you all probably have 2-legged children, and it's just something unimportant. But thank you very much.
Have you seen the Tarboro shelter? Or
No,
just the counties?
I just go out to the county, and I take treats. Every time I go to Costco once a month, and then I take 3 or 4 bags of stuff that they have, treats, and take them and drop them off. And I usually see a lady there. I don't remember her name, but I see her and I give them to her. But I've really never seen a dog outside that thing. And as I told the sheriff in a letter, I'm willing to, at night, not during the day, because I can't do it during the day, it's just too hot. But I'm willing to get friends of mine that I've met here in Tarboro, and even if it's just a walking out to the road and back, they can get outside, and I'll supply the leashes. I just think it'd be a good thing, but thank you for, again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for caring.
Thank you.
Sir. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by a vote sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We're now
If he hadn't opened us up yet, tell him don't open us up yet.
Where'd you get that fancy word from? Sheriff's?
It's on that last page of this.
You want these back?
Sheriff law enforcement class and sheriff detention class.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Keep them if you're.
Are we ready?
I think it's,
Yeah,
in
tell us
case
when we're
people
ready.
start asking questions.
We're back in.
I'm gonna keep them.
So we in?
We're in open session. so
You asked for these back?
You can keep them if you
Oh,
want.
okay.
We are now in open session, and we do have business coming up in open session. Mr. Evans, would you please take those motions?
Yes, sir. I believe it's the board's intent first to do an additional 5% increase, an additional meaning on top of what was already approved in the budget for the employees of the sheriff's office.
The motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, so done. Next.
And then I believe, secondly, is your intent as a board to also improve the revised compensation plan that will elevate the salary scales under the sheriff law enforcement class as well as the sheriff detention class, raising all of those salary scales up by 5% as presented.
Motion? Second. Question? All in favor, let it be known by the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, it is approved. Is there any other business to come in open session?
I would just note that I mentioned about us keeping a watch on the storm. As Ms. Harris mentioned, the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Annual Conference is this week. I'm planning to, I'm scheduled to go as well as Ms. Bess and Mr. Matthews. I'm going to take a close look at what the forecast is for the storm by tomorrow. I may decide not to attend and let them attend, depending on which direction that storm is going. But I'll let you know.
And they're having a Zoom meeting in the morning after they get the report from.
Yes.
Now, from my understanding, we're not gonna get anything but rain from this.
Well, it depends on the timing of it all and how closely it comes together as to whether we're going to get some flash flooding. Right now, the river is very low, so if it doesn't come all too short a period of time, we should be okay as far as river flooding as well.
They're saying 3 to 12 inches. That's a big variable.
It-
3 to 12
it is.
inches.
We usually rely on the National Weather Service from the Raleigh office because they narrowed it down a little bit. You know, the weather station, they cover some of them half the state, if not
Yeah.
the whole state. So we're in the swath that's anywhere from 4 to 8 inches. But that storm could shift one way or another, stall, or speed up, and all of that will
I'm sure that's what the Zoom call's about. Just got some folks coming from the coast, those that might be coming from the mountains, so they'll make
That's
a
right.
decision.
Is there any other business coming? Hearing none, motion to adjourn?
Yes, sir.
Questions?
Second.